Hello and welcome to Capital Games Movie Club. I am The Wiz. Today I'm reviewing the movie from Claire Denis, the 1999 film Beau Travail. This film jumped numerous spots. I think this one jumped the highest out of any film from the Sight and Sound Top 100. I think it was from the 70s to number 7. So when this was spun in the wheel and this came up as a movie to watch, I was very curious to watch this. So why don't we get into that? But before I do get into my thoughts on this movie, I want to state how I review movies to a certain extent. My review style is purely based on my feelings and how I felt about the movie. There are some reviewers out there who, despite them not getting anything out of it, still give great reviews to movies because the movie's doing something different, or they understand where the movie's coming from and how effective that they were when doing it. I do that to a certain extent, but I think that the most important thing for me when it comes to reviewing a movie is to just say how I feel about it. Because if I'm getting what the movie's doing and it's doing that effectively, and I understand the message it's saying, but I don't like what I'm watching, I'm not going to give it a good review. So, with that said, I'm going to dive right into Beau Travail. So, Beau Travail is what I would call a tone poem, I guess is the best way to put it. The story and dialogue really do not matter in this movie. And I'll tell you what the story is basically. A Foreign Legion officer named Gallup recalls his life leading troops in the Gulf of Djibouti, being part of the Foreign Legion. He talks about how his life was until a certain soldier came and it instilled jealousy in him over how loved he was not only by the fellow soldiers but by his superior officer, a person who generally doesn't pay him much attention. And it's basically about his downfall to where he became to what he becomes by the end of the movie. Now, I know that I just told you the entire movie right there, the entire plot line of the movie. Normally, I would say the spoilers on this, but to be fair, the story does not matter in this movie. It really doesn't. I guess someone like me who prefers to watch movies with good story and dialogue, this didn't do much for me. And I'm going to explain why. Even though I think the purpose that it set out to do, what it was set out to do, it succeeded. But even as that succeeded, I still feel like the movie had no effect to me at all. So why don't I get into the positives of the movie? And I think that's the cinematography. This is a beautifully shot movie. It looks like it's shot in natural light. I'm not sure if it is, but it is definitely shot in a very striking, beautiful manner throughout the entire film. And the other thing that's beautiful about it is the subjects that it shoots. The film is basically, it's been told to be voyeuristic, or what's the word that they use? They definitely linger on the bodies of these really fit masculine men, fetishize. It's been said that they kind of fetishize these soldiers as they're doing their training and they're doing all sorts of things in the movie. And I do understand why people think that. I'm not entirely sure if it's fetishizing them to a certain extent, but I get where it's coming from there. But the film does, I think, a really good job shooting these men in a certain light and giving a bit of romanticism to what they're doing. Not romanticism as loving, kissing, that stuff. No, look, romanticizing the feeling of being in a group and being, I guess, in an army group or something that helps you understand why these men would be in such a group. I can understand that aspect, and I understand how it's shot that well, and it's shot really well, actually. Like, the movie, when you watch it, is gorgeous looking. And as this is a tone piece, because, again, the story and dialogue just do not matter in this movie. The way that the film is done, it is a slow film, and I mean slow film. Even though it's 90 minutes long, the movie is in a very deliberate pace because it wants to simmer in the jealousy and the feelings of Gallup, the officer that is the main character played by Denis Levant in this, who does a pretty good job in the performance. Here's the thing, though, and this might be a hang-up on me when it comes to this movie. I need dialogue. I need a story in order to really get into what's going on, and I feel like I need those things in order to identify with somebody. And maybe that's not the point of the movie, is to identify with a specific character, but with the feeling of what's going on and the absolute jealousy that this man is going through. This is hard to really explain. Like, I get what the movie's doing. It just didn't have an effect on me. I watched the movie knowing full well, knowing full well what the director was trying to do. And what she was trying to do was use the regimented style and the needed perfection with these men to perform their duties, and to do it in a exacting way. And the timing and everything of this movie is exacting. It's almost like a dance, which it is mesmerizing to watch. I guess in the end, the feelings I got from it were pretty muted. Whereas what I've read from others and what I've seen from others is that they were profoundly affected by this movie, which, great, but I did not get that at all. I sat watching. I watched this movie a couple days ago, and I purposely held back on reviewing just so I can get more thoughts into it. Maybe I'm missing something, and then it just dawned on me. I was like, well, okay. If the movie didn't do much for me, it would be silly to not review it or to delay the review to make sure to see if maybe after a day or two it would get something out of me. I get what the movie is trying to do, and I think overall it effectively does that. I just didn't get anything out of this. I guess that's the best way to put it. I didn't get anything out of this. I admire the beauty of the film. I love the fact that I love how detailed it is in its looks and its style. I definitely appreciate how the actors are willing to get so regimented, and the timing is so well in some of these scenes that when things start to go wrong, it really feels awkward not awkward, but it definitely has a more salient effect when things start to go down, because when things go down badly, it looks really janky and messed up. And I know that's the effect that the director was going towards. But because I wasn't invested in the movie by the end, it had zero effect on me. I mean, zero effect. And that, I think, is the thing with Beau Travail. It's one of those love it or not love it or hate it. It's either going to speak to you or it's not. And it doesn't have anything in there where if it may not speak to you, that you would enjoy it. I think that is my issue with this. You have to think one specific way about the movie. And if you don't, it's just not going to be for you. Which, films like that I can understand and respect because it knows what it wants to do. And I get that. And again, I respect it. But when it doesn't work, oh, wow. It doesn't work with some people. And I'm going to give it, I would say, a 2.5 out of 5 in this. I'm going to give it average. just because I understand what it was trying to do, and I think it did it effectively, it just didn't have the effect on me. I think I can watch this movie and see how some people will get something out of this and will deeply love this movie. But then there are going to be people like me who prefers story, prefers dialogue, prefers character development, and are not going to get anything out of this. And I think that's where my final thoughts lie. Beau Travail is a beautiful movie. It does interesting things. It's shot incredibly well. It's got so many awards for cinematography. It is a gorgeous looking movie, but it is an alienating movie. And if you don't jive with it right away, it's gonna be kind of hard to sit through for 90 minutes. And thankfully, it's just 90 minutes, so that's good in that sense. But I would say, if the film interests you in any way, I would give it a shot. I'm glad I did watch it, even though I am very lukewarm on it. But be prepared that this only cares about setting its purpose, and that's it. And if you don't jive with it, you're just not going to jive with it. It's just not going to matter. So 2.5 stars for Beau Travail. I am really curious. I'm going to read. I just got the issue of Sight and Sound with the top 100 of all time. I'm going to read how many people in that actually voted for this movie. Because I'm really curious as to how this jumped 70 spots. Because this is such a dense. Yeah, this movie is such a dense movie that if it doesn't penetrate you in some sort of way, it's just not going to do anything for you. And I'm just wondering who exactly put the film as a top 10 and why. I'm really curious about that. Not that I have a problem with it being on there. I don't care. It's whatever. But I'm really curious as to why so many people voted this as a top 10 of all time. But anyway, 2.5 stars for Beau Travail. I'd say give it a shot, but again, be prepared. It may not be for you, and if it is, that's pretty much okay. I think that's how the film was made. But yeah, 2.5 stars. All right, so let me get down to what I'm going to watch next. I am excited about this because it's an Alfred Hitchcock film, and I've been wanting to watch this movie for a long-ass time, and it's North by Northwest. Oh man, I cannot wait for this. Like, I've been wanting to watch this movie for a while. So now that it's North by Northwest and I'm going to have the excuse to watch it, I'm going to be excited. So tune in next time where I review North by Northwest, directed by Alfred Hitchcock. This is the Capital Games Movie Club. I am The Wiz. Talk to you next time. Bye.